Yo, what is up, YouTube? BK, Brad Kellner. It is Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. We are live on YouTube. Hope everyone's having a great night. Hope everyone's staying dry. Weather's miserable here in Austin. That's every day here in Austin. The weather is out of control. I'm so tired of this rain, guys. I know y'all are too, but it's projected to rain through next Saturday, like not through 2 days from now, Saturday, through 9 days from now, Saturday. Absolutely out of control. Didn't realize we all moved to Seattle. Speaking of Seattle, my man CB in the building. What's up, CB? CB leaves Austin, moves to Seattle, and all of a sudden the weather in the two cities flips around. It's miserable out there, guys, but we're not here to talk about the weather today. We're here to talk about Texas football. And we're here to talk about what Paul Finebaum said on ESPN's Get Up yesterday. And I hate that I'm doing this because I hate that I'm giving that guy an even bigger platform than he already has. I already hate that he has a huge platform. And I feel like I'm giving him an even bigger platform by talking about what he says. But a lot of Longhorn fans have been tweeting about it, have been posting about it on social media, have been talking about it. So we talked about it on the show today on the Triple Option with RBKD, and I figured I'd make a YouTube video to discuss Paul Finebaum's comments about the Texas football program as well. So I'm going to retweet this from the Horn Twitter account so we can get as many people in here as possible. And not only will I be talking about Paul Finebaum and discussing whether or not Texas is still relevant, I'll be taking y'all's questions too. So whatever's on y'all's mind. Summer conditioning workouts began yesterday. The summer enrollees got to campus over the weekend. So if y'all want to talk about any of those guys, we can. If y'all want to talk Texas baseball, of course, the Austin Regional scheduled to begin tomorrow, weather permitting. But we can talk about Texas baseball if y'all want, Texas basketball. Whatever's on y'all's mind, I would love to hear from you. Please like this video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel. If you haven't yet, y'all know the drill. We're up over 1,000 subscribers, so appreciate y'all for that. Next goal, I guess, is 1,500. I think we're in the 1,100-something range right now. 1,500 feels like the next goal. Feels like a pretty realistic goal for the not-too-distant future. So y'all subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And if you know any Longhorn fans who aren't subscribed to this channel, please let them know. Really do appreciate y'all's continued support. This video is brought to you by Last Stand Hats. There's the little banner. Use code BK10 at checkouts for 10% off your purchase of any Last Stand hat, including this bad boy, the All Gas No Brakes hat. They make unbelievable lids, guys. Officially licensed by UT. Good people running the show over there. LastStandHats.com, BK10 at checkout to get 10% off your purchase. No, I do not live in Seattle. CB lives in Seattle. Or maybe you guys are talking to each other in the chat. So let's talk Paul Finebaum. Yesterday on ESPN's Get Up, which is one of their morning television programs, Mike Greenberg, who hosts that show, was interviewing Paul Finebaum, of course, the ESPN and SEC Network college football analyst. And Greeny asked Finebaum a question about Steve Sarkeesian and the high expectations for Sark as the head coach at UT. And Greeny asked if those expectations were realistic. And, well, here's what Finebaum had to say. I'm not going to play the audio for you. Number one, I don't know how. Number two, that's probably violating some sort of copyright law. And number three, I don't like Paul Finebaum's voice that much, so I don't want to hear him myself. So I'll just read you what Paul Finebaum had to say on Get Up yesterday. He said, quote, Texas is no big deal other than to Texas fans. This is not a relevant program anymore. Go back to 2013 when Texas people fired Mack Brown. He didn't resign. He was shown the door. The same Mack Brown that has North Carolina in the top 10. Texas can't even win its own state anymore. It lost two of its best in-state recruits to Alabama. It's pathetically behind Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. It's way, way behind its biggest rival up in Norman, Oklahoma. Texas is fighting for third best in its own league, and I don't really see a clear path. I think Sark is a very good coach, but let's be honest, Hembo could have coached that offense last year at Alabama, end quote. Hembo is referring to one of his coworkers at ESPN. I didn't know that at first. I don't think anybody knew that at first, but apparently he was talking about one of the other college football guys at the four-letter network. So that was Paul Finebaum yesterday. There's a lot there, but obviously the biggest headline-grabbing part of that quote came at the very beginning, where Finebaum said Texas is no big deal, and also said that Texas is not a relevant program anymore. So the question became, is Texas a relevant college football program in 2021? And there's an easy answer to this question, guys. My co-host Kevin Dunn said this today. He says this all the time. Anytime we're having a discussion about relevancy, whether it's with Texas, whether it's with Notre Dame, whether it's with the Dallas Cowboys, whether it's with the New York Yankees, one of those premier brands in sports, if you have to ask the question whether or not they're relevant, that means they're relevant. If you have to use a segment on national television to ask whether or not a player, a team, and anything is relevant, that means they're relevant right there. If you have to write an article, a 5-page article, debating whether or not somebody is relevant, that means they're pretty damn relevant. So there's your answer right there, guys. Texas football is absolutely still relevant. Now, there's a difference between being relevant and being a contender. I'm not going to sit here and argue that Texas has been a contender in college football over the last 10 years. I'm not going to tell you that I expect Texas to be a contender, a national title contender in 2021, but Texas is still relevant. We're still talking about one of the top 3 brands in all of college football. We're still talking about the most profitable athletic department in all of college football. We're still talking about one of the most well-known brands in all of sports here. That's relevance. Texas is completely relevant. You know, some of the other programs, some of the other historically successful college football programs that you can maybe ask whether or not they're still relevant would be Nebraska, and it'd be Tennessee, the other UT, somebody in Paul Finebaum's own conference. But nobody's writing articles about those two teams. No one's asking the question whether or not they're still relevant because they're not really that relevant anymore. Texas, because people are still talking about them and people are still asking that question, that tells you all you need to know. So Paul Finebaum's dead wrong, guys. Texas is still very much a relevant program. That's not just me as a Texas grad, as a Longhorn fan, as a guy who covers the team in Austin telling you that. That's common sense telling me that, and hopefully telling you that too. You look at TV ratings, you look at social media interactions, Texas is still amongst the best in all of college football, year in and year out. And we're going on a decade plus of no results in terms of the win-loss record. So difference between being relevant and being a contender, Texas, despite not being a contender, has still been incredibly relevant. So there you go. So now, diving into a little bit more of what Paul Finebaum had to say. First of all, he acted like he was breaking news when he talked about Mack Brown, right? He said, go back to 2013 when Texas people fired Mack Brown. He didn't resign. He was shown the door. Everybody has known that for 8 years. And I know Mack Brown's having success at North Carolina, but come on, the last few years of the Mack era here in Austin did not go well. Texas absolutely had to make the move. Texas needed a fresh start. Hell, Mack Brown needed a fresh start. He'd probably admit that right now. He needed some time off. He needed to do a little soul searching, and that helped him kind of find his identity, and that helped him have the success that he's having at North Carolina. So look, Mack Brown had to go. He had to leave Texas. Just because Charlie Strong and Tom Herman couldn't get the job done here doesn't mean Mack Brown should still be the coach here. Not at all. And also, look, right now Texas is behind Texas A&M. Pains me to say it, but it's true. I mean, Texas A&M was 5th last year. I think they finished in the top 4. They won a New Year's Six Bowl. They nearly made it to the college football playoff. They had a better year than Texas, and there's reason to believe that they'll have a better year than Texas in 2021. But Texas is not pathetically behind Texas A&M. I mean, what was it, 3 years ago when Texas won the Sugar Bowl? Like, Texas was just pathetically ahead of Texas A&M a couple of years ago. So it's all cyclical. It could change very, very quickly. And within 2 years, Texas could be ahead of Texas A&M. So we're not pathetically behind the Aggies right now. Are the Aggies a better program at this moment? Sure. You probably can't argue that too much if you're a Texas fan. But you can't call them pathetically behind Texas A&M. That's a stretch. But that's Finebaum being the SEC homer that he is. So no real surprise right there. And it's funny, like Finebaum, SEC homer guy, was praising Sark. I remember watching Finebaum on the SEC Network last year. I remember hearing his bits on ESPN. He was praising Steve Sarkeesian and the offense he was putting together at Alabama. And now Sark leaves the SEC, and all of a sudden, anybody could have done what Sark did. Anybody could have called those plays. Anybody could have coordinated that offense. He's not good at all. That's ridiculous, man. There's tape, Paul. There's tweets. There's tape. We know what you said about Sark last year. Total 180 on his part, all because, well, Sark is not in the SEC anymore. This is what Finebaum does. I called him Skip Bayless lights. This is why I hate doing this video, because I feel like I'm giving him a bigger platform than he already has, and his platform is already too big. So I hate doing this, and that's what Skip Bayless does, right? Skip Bayless just has those ridiculously hot takes that I don't even think he believes in, but he knows that they're going to ruffle some feathers, so he just says shit to say it. That's what Paul Finebaum is probably doing here. I mean, he's talked about Texas like 2 or 3 times in the last week. If they weren't relevant, then he wouldn't be talking about Texas. And they're not an SEC team, too. And he's still finding ways to talk about Texas all the time, even though he's an SEC guy. So there you go there. By the way, the follow-up, so Mike Greenberg was a little befuddled when Finebaum made those comments yesterday on Get Up. So Greeny kind of asked him a follow-up question, and he asked whether or not he believes Sark is the right guy to turn Texas around. And Paul Finebaum said, quote, "I think he's as good as anyone else, but the problem isn't Sark. The problem is Texas people. Nick Saban told me one time after he turned down Texas that he didn't want to report to 15 or 20 billionaires every day. That's the way that program rolls. Saban took over at Alabama and said, 'I'm in charge here.' Lincoln Riley has very few people that he has to answer to in Norman. That's the problem for Sark. Every other minute, somebody else is calling up and wanting a piece of him and that program. Until they clear that up, and they haven't yet, that program will be stuck in the mud," end quote. It's a tale as old as time, gentlemen and ladies, if you're watching. Appreciate y'all. Please like this video if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. But here we go, blaming the boosters again. First of all, like, a lot of people used the words harsh or critical to describe these comments from Paul Finebaum. And maybe those are right, but I would use inaccurate to describe the words from Paul Finebaum. There are so many inaccuracies in Paul Feinbaum's couple of quotes here that it's almost laughable that this guy gets paid to talk about college football. Saying that Nick Saban turned down the Texas job, first of all, that's a laugh. You guys know the situation at that point. Nick Saban would have taken this job, and he was about to take this job, but it was actually Mac Brown, Paul Feinbaum's boy, who put the kibosh on that whole deal. We don't need to go down that road. So that's wrong right there. Saying Nick Saban doesn't have to deal with any boosters or anybody at Alabama is a joke. And you'd think Paul Finebaum, who covers the SEC and just derides the SEC at will, would know about the machine. I encourage you, if you don't know about the machine at Alabama, do a Google search tonight. And it won't be an easy Google search. It won't be a short Google search, I should say. Anything searched on Google is easy. But you'll go down a rabbit hole learning about the machine at Alabama. The machine controls Alabama football. It controls the University of Alabama. It controls the state of Alabama, like politics in the state of Alabama. The machine is absolutely insane. And what they have going on there is bigger than the booster involvement at Texas. It just is, guys. The reason we don't hear about the boosters or the machine at Alabama is Nick Saban's winning. He's doing his job. He's competing for national championships year in and year out. So the machine is happy. So that's why you don't hear from them. When Mac Brown was doing what he was doing from 2000 to 2009, we didn't hear about the boosters. They weren't a problem. We're only hearing about them because, well, Texas hasn't been winning games in the last decade. The boosters, the big money donors, those are necessary to be successful in college sports. Those give Texas the advantages over other schools that other teams, that other schools don't have. You need that financial backing. That gives you the new stadiums. That gives you the new facilities. That gives you the ability to pay buyouts for coaches who aren't doing their job. That gives you the ability to hire assistant coaches when you need to. You need those guys on your side. And they're out of the way when the coach is doing his job. When the coach isn't doing his job, i.e. Charlie Strong and Tom Herman, then the big money donors are going to get involved. And it's funny, like, if Texas football wasn't relevant, do you think we'd have 15 or 20 billionaires still donating money all the time? I thought that was a pretty funny contradiction there from Paul Finebaum. Sort of proved himself wrong in his answer there. I hate the argument that are the big money donors involved? Yes. Do they want to call some shots at Texas? Yes. But you need those guys on your side. You need their support. And I promise you, if Sark is able to turn things around and Texas is competing for Big 12 and national championships again, like they did in Mac Brown's heyday, we're not going to be complaining about the boosters or big money donors. They're going to step aside. They don't want to be in the limelight. They're doing it because, they feel like they have to. So I will not fault the big money donors or the boosters. And I promise they don't sign my paychecks at work. That's not why I'm kissing their ass. I firmly believe that. So that's a tale as old as time. I love it when people bring that up. I love it when people look, does Texas have more booster involvement than 99% of college football teams in the country? Yeah. But is Texas the only college football team in the country that has pretty massive booster involvement? Absolutely not. All the blue bloods, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, those teams have a ton of booster involvement. So that's part of it. And you need those guys to keep up with the arms race that is college football. So I don't know, man. Paul Finebaum, once again, I hated doing this video, but I needed to talk about it because a lot of y'all have been talking about it. I hate giving that guy a bigger platform than the one he already has. He skipped Bayless Light, and maybe this was his goal when he made those comments yesterday on Get Up. But do better, man. Do better than that. You're paid a lot of money to be an analyst for this sport. You got to know more than what you actually know. It's one thing to have hot takes, but at least be able to back it up with accurate information. And Paul Finebaum could not do that yesterday. So, all right, that's enough of that. Let's take y'all's questions. Appreciate the love, by the way. A lot of y'all watching tonight. Thank you very much. Closing in on the end of the third quarter in this Portland-Denver game. Portland up 4. It's going to be a good fourth quarter. I'll probably dip out with a few minutes left in regulation of this one so I can watch that and watch some playoff hockey. But I'll field y'all's questions. Hit me in the comment section if you're watching. Whatever you want to talk about, let me know. Yeah, when did Paul Finebaum become the voice of college football? I don't know when that happened. I don't know why. Like for SEC stuff, he makes sense. He's an SEC homer. SEC fans, for the most part, love that guy because he just defends that conference 24/7, 365. But I don't know why they're asking Paul Finebaum questions about Texas or about other college football teams outside of the SEC. Let's see. All right, Chris, good question. Let's talk Sanders. When do you think he will be the starter at tight end? I'm so excited for Jatavion Sanders, guys. One of the 12 high school summer enrollees that got to campus this past weekend. Of course, Texas had 3 transfers this past weekend as well. But Jatavion Sanders, the 5-star for the Longhorns in the class of 2021. I will commend him for his loyalty. Sticking with his commitment despite the coaching change, despite everything that went on in and around the University of Texas over the past few months. Tip of the cap to Jatavion Sanders, man. Love that commitment. Love that loyalty. Not something you see in today's era of college football, in today's era of recruiting. I think Jatavion Sanders has the chance to be the best tight end on this football team early. Now, when does he start? I don't know if he'll start week 1 because Cade Brewer's been on campus for 4 years and Jared Wiley's been on campus for a couple of years. And they, of course, were here for the spring. And Jatavion Sanders was not. I would feel better about Jatavion Sanders being a week 1 starter if he was an early enrollee. But, man, Jatavion Sanders has a chance to be the best tight end at Texas since Jermichael Finley. And that's not that hard to do, sadly. Like you think about Jermichael Finley, and that's a long time ago. Well, Texas has not had anything close to a complete tight end since he left. David Thomas, then Jermichael Finley, then what? Andrew Beck was awesome. And the best year that Texas has had in the last decade was 2018 when Andrew Beck was doing his thing as this team's starting tight end, but he wasn't complete. He was an elite blocker, not much of a threat as a pass catcher. Jatavion Sanders has a chance to be a complete tight end. I don't know if it'll happen this year. I think there's definitely a chance it happens this year, but by the time it's all said and done, Jatavion Sanders, I think, will be that complete tight end. And you guys, I think everyone in the world feels better about the Texas tight end room than I do. Mentioned Cade Brewer, mentioned Jared Wiley. You've got Braden Liebrock. You've got Gunnar Helm and Juan Davis. Both of those freshmen did some things in the spring game, and they were obviously in for spring. But I don't think you have any impact players there. I don't think you have any difference makers there. Ja'Tavion Sanders can be a game changer. He can be an impact player. He can be a difference maker. So despite all of those guys maybe ahead of him right now on the depth chart, I think JT's got a shot to crack the starting rotation early on this season. I don't know how long you can leave a guy like that on the sideline. And Tom Herman's not coaching here anymore. Tom Herman was very hesitant to play freshmen. Look at Bijan Robinson, one of the best players in the country, and Tom Herman for some reason wouldn't play him, even with his ass on the hot seat. Don't even get me started. Sorry for bringing up Voldemort. But hopefully Steve Sarkeesian does not do that. Sark has talked about it being a meritocracy, and I believe that this will be a meritocracy. Tom Herman used that word a lot. I don't think he really knew what it meant. Sarkeesian, clean slate. I don't think he's going to be scared to play freshman. If Ja'Tavion Sanders is this team's best tight end, if he's one of those guys that is one of your best 11 on offense, then he's going to play. So I think early on, Sark will put JT Sanders into the lineup. All right. We've got a lot of Paul Finebaum hate in the chat room. That cracks me up. Oh, man. Nothing but Paul Finebaum. Chad, appreciate the love. The absolute best triple option episode I've heard today. Oh, man, thank you for the kind words, Chad. Yeah, we had a fun show today. A very risque show. I'm honestly checking my phone every 5 minutes to make sure I'm not getting a call from my boss or anything. We were having some fun, though. A lot of great stories, including a Danish journalist who was doing a story about a swingers club. And during the interview, she was getting railed at the swingers club. I couldn't think of a more politically correct term than railed, but we're on YouTube, so we don't have any FCC guidelines to worry about. But yeah, and you can literally hear in the audio, in her story, you can hear her getting railed. It's awesome. That was just one of the stories we talked about. There was a lot going on. There was a dildo drone that was behind a politician. This is not why y'all are watching right now, but because Chad brought up the show today, I felt like I had to bring up this story. But yeah, politician, the guy running for mayor in Albuquerque, New Mexico, was giving a speech to about 70 people, and a dill drone, as I'm calling it, a drone with a big black veiny dildo was like hovering behind him as he was speaking. And that's pretty hilarious. I hope that's the future of politics right there. Is pranks like that. Chaos, madness. I love it. So fun show today. Thank you, Chad, for listening. Appreciate your support of this channel and appreciate your support of the triple option with RBKD. Frank asks, DKR, 100% capacity. Yes, as of right now. I don't know why that would change. DKR will be at 100% capacity this fall. And I'm excited. I think a lot of people are excited for the Sark era, and people are just excited to go to a football game again. I know Texas had some fans last year, but a lot of people were not able to go or just chose not to go to a Longhorn football game in 2020 due to COVID. We will have 100% capacity this year. Hell, for baseball this weekend, there's already 100% capacity. So it'll be all systems go down on San Gabriel this fall. Can't wait, man. Perfect timing for the Sark era. I agree. And Louisiana is no pushover. I'm telling you, I don't know if that's going to move the needle. Hopefully that's a sellout. There have been season opening games against non-Power 5 teams in the past that have not sold out. Hell, there have been Big 12 games that have not sold out in recent years. But Louisiana's good, man. They won 10 games last year. End of the year in the top 20. They beat Iowa State in Ames at the start of the season. Need as many fans as we could get at DKR on September 4th. 93 days from now, by the way. Not that I'm counting. 2015, Finebaum called A&M the new power program in Texas. That's funny. A few years off on that one. Minerva, Texas in the house. Hope you're having a good night. Thank you for stopping by. Travis, what's up? What's up? My buddy Will, Texas Tech fan Will, gave me the Chris Beard candle. I don't think I ever tweeted out a picture of that. I'm going to go get this right now. I don't know if you're still watching, Will. This is gonna pain my buddy Will, Texas Tech grad if he is, but he gave me this Chris Beard candle as a gift. I went out and had drinks with him and a couple of other Tech grad buddies the night Chris Beard took the Texas job, and My buddy Will hooked it up with this. He said he couldn't look at it anymore. He wanted to smash it. I'm surprised he didn't, but he gave it to me. So this will be lit for all big Texas basketball games in the Chris Beard era. Saint Beard, by the way, at the bottom. Love this thing. I've got a Guy Fieri candle like that, too. Got it as a gift from one of my sisters, which one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. But poker night this weekend is the question. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. If Sean Adams were here, he would have ethered Feinbaum on his radio show. Yeah, I bet he would have. That would have been great to hear Sean's thoughts on this. Would have been great to hear Sean's thoughts on a lot of things over the last couple of years, man. Miss him every day. Texas Savage, baseball question. Do you think we will win the national championship in baseball? I think we've got a shot. Are we the favorites? No. Arkansas is the favorite, and they should be. The best team in college baseball all season long, the number one overall seed. I know it's terrible of me to pick the number one team, but they've got to be the favorite to win the whole thing. But Texas absolutely has a shot. Starting pitching is good enough. The lineup, not any easy outs in this lineup right now. And, the defense has been very, very good. There's a lot to like about this Texas baseball team. The bullpen's been solid, too. Aaron Nixon has settled into that closer role very, very nicely. Cole Quintanilla, arguably the best pitcher for Texas this year, coming out of the pen. Tanner Witt, too. Man, there's a lot to like. Ty Madden just named All-American today. Texas has a great shot. Gun to my head, I'll say no. But does Texas have a chance to win the national championship in baseball this year? Absolutely. Expectations. You think expectations are high for Texas football? Shoot, Texas baseball, like getting to Omaha is not enough for a lot of people. You got to make some noise in Omaha. Texas has a team that's capable of doing that this year. And the run starts tomorrow, hopefully, weather permitting. Texas versus Southern. By the way, is there a more vague name of a college than Southern? Where is Southern? Does anyone know? I probably should because it's my job to know stuff like this, but that's you're leaving a lot of options there if you're just calling yourself Southern. Anyways, Texas versus Southern. That's a game Texas should win and win easily tomorrow at the Dish. All right. Let's see. Scrolling through y'all's comments a little bit more. Appreciate the love. Thank y'all for stopping by. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet. Thank y'all. Man, this Denver-Portland game is going to be good. All right, I'll probably go. We're at 27 minutes. I'll probably go for like 3 to 5 more minutes. Paul Finebaum farts in his sleep. Is that an insult or is that like a statement of fact? I feel like we all probably do that, right? I don't know. I'm freaking out. Yeah, trying to recruit for Bama. Yeah, look, that's Finebaum appealing to the SEC fan base and maybe trying to help out on the recruiting trail as well. Just looking for clicks. And he got a lot of them. Hearing something about Worthy. Yes, I am hearing something about Xavier Worthy. I got to give some love to my guy Chip Brown at Horns 24/7. He just released a great insider report with some early summer conditioning nuggets. I'm not going to give you all everything. Go check it out, horns247.com. But he did write something, a little nugget about Xavier Worthy, and apparently he's already stood out in terms of the player-led workouts that have been going on down on campus. Xavier Worthy has already shown up, and he has been a leader for Texas early on. And how about this from a team source? Quote, "The kid is as fast as advertised. He's competitive, not backing down. Good sign." So there's a Xavier Worthy update for y'all. Apparently he's off to a fast start. No pun intended. Yes, pun intended. Here at Texas. And a lot of reason to be excited about him. One of the top receivers in the country for the class of 2021. He's got a chance to get some PT this year. We talked about Jatavion Sanders potentially being an impact player for the Longhorns as a freshman. Same holds true for Xavier Worthy. Massive, massive get for Steve Sarkeesian. So there's an update there. Glad we don't have to hear about Mensa anymore. Yeah, you and me both, CB. All right, A Bull. With Deli Adeoye back, do you think linebacker will be fairly decent with all of the added, hopefully quality depth? Yeah, look, guys, I don't need superstar play from this linebacker core this year. I think I said it in a recent video, or maybe a couple of weeks ago before the Deli news dropped. But if the linebacker play, like if we're ranking it 1 to 10, if the linebackers are like a 6 out of 10, I'm fine because I think this defensive line is elite, and I think the secondary can be decent enough to overcome some deficiencies in the linebacker room. But with Deli back and with Ben Davis and Ray Thornton and Ovia Gofu and all of the transfers coming in, Devin Richardson too, there's a chance for linebacker to be a quality position for Texas. Not like the best position for Texas, but not a weakness, not a liability for the Longhorns in 2021. Overshown's a stud. He's the best guy in that room. But, you've got bodies there. After Juwan Mitchell left, you didn't have bodies. But now with all the transfers coming in and Deli coming back, you've got some bodies there. Pete Kwiatkowski has some pieces to work with, and there's a lot of on-paper talent in that linebacker room. Pete Kwiatkowski was able to get a lot out of, on paper, lesser talented players during his time at Washington. If anyone's going to maximize those guys, if anyone's going to be able to get that 5-star player out of Ben Davis, it's Pete Kwiatkowski. So, him and Jeff Choate, the linebackers coach, those guys give me the most excitement. But, I think linebacker will be fairly decent to answer your question. They don't need to be all that great, but I don't think they'll be a liability at this point if they stay healthy. And I mainly mean DeMarvion Overshown, because if Overshown goes down, I'm not quite sure what to make of those other guys. Yeah, a lot of them are coming from big programs. Ben Davis from Bama, Ray Thornton from LSU, Ovia Gofu from Notre Dame, but those guys didn't play much at those schools. Hard to crack the rotation there. I get it, but we just haven't seen it, is my point. We haven't seen it at the collegiate level. So Overshown stays healthy, then I think we'll be fairly decent. Good question. Southern is in Baton Rouge. Thank y'all. Oh, no, it's an HBCU. I figured it was in Louisiana. I didn't know it was in Baton Rouge. Really? There's 2 D1 colleges in Baton Rouge? Did not know that. But thank y'all for letting me know. See, that's why I have y'all. I appreciate you guys. Need y'all to text that stuff into the show so I don't sound like an idiot all the time. Their band is worth a watch on YouTube. Dude, I love the HBCU bands. My family, so I grew up in Dallas. Y'all know that. Every year, Grambling State and Prairie View A&M would play a game at the Cotton Bowl. And my family would go. I'll be honest, we were like the only white family in the stands, but we would go for the bands. Like the football obviously was not that great. There was a better football being played a different day at the Cotton Bowl every year. But the bands were incredible. My parents, my sisters, we all loved that stuff. So I'll check out Southern's band, man. That's the HBCU bands are always incredible. They put on phenomenal shows all the time. Did the Suns close it out tonight? Yes, they do. Even though Anthony Davis is playing, I think Phoenix does close it out. I just don't think AD is going to be anywhere close to 100%. Random question, is Texas making the national championship in basketball? No, it's not happening in year one. Texas is going to be good in basketball this year. They've got a chance to make a run in the tournament, methinks. I want to see what the full roster looks like. I want to hear what Jericho Sims decides to do. But I can't go making the national championship in year one. Too early. Fairfield's best baseball player got hurt, and he can't play this weekend. We're going all over the place, guys. Told y'all I'd answer your questions. I'm trying to get to every single one. Fairfield's best player, the MAC all conference player or player of the year. I don't even remember his name, Mike something. He's hurt. He's not playing this weekend. So advantage Texas if the Longhorns do see the Stags of Fairfield at some point. Fairfield's in Hartford, Connecticut, East Hartford, I think. I know that. Don't know where Southern is. Somehow know where Fairfield is. All right, a couple more. This game's getting close. This NBA game's getting close. And I think we're going to overtime and some hockey. Who do you think will step up and take Joseph Osai's place as the leader on this defense? Good question. Look, Texas needs leaders everywhere. 6 of the 7 captains from last year's team are gone. The only one coming back is Derek Kerstetter. So Kerstetter will be a leader. We're not even sure he's going to be a starter. I think he will be, but he'll be a leader. But outside of that, some shoes to fill in terms of leadership on this team. Keandre Coburn would be a guy I would look at. DeMarvion Overshown would be a guy that I would look at. The corners, Deshaun Jameson and Josh Thompson, would be guys that I look at on the defensive side of the football. Those are probably your most likely leadership candidates there in terms of guys who will start, who have shown a lot with their play, and I think guys who have been sort of leaders in the past. I think those are your likely leadership candidates. Sorry to repeat that exact phrase on defense. Yeah, Southern's D1 in baseball. They have to be D1 in baseball. Otherwise, they wouldn't be playing Texas. If we go 0-2 to start, do we blame Sark or PK? Well, it depends on what the games look like. If Texas loses both games 10-0, then we blame Sark. If Texas loses those games 51-48, then we blame Pete Kwiatkowski. Don't speak that into existence, please, Roy. Rice Band, yes, the mob is great too, Gary. Great call. Great call on that. Sark is not on the hot seat even if we start 0-2. He's not getting fired this year. Not happening. And he better not start 0-2. That would suck. People would be pissed, and there will be some people calling for his head, but he's not going to be on the hot seat. All right, one more question. Eric, Luling guy. Good dude. Good writer, too. How many wins for UT football in year one of Sark? You know, the Vegas over-under right now, at least one of the Vegas over-unders that I saw this week was at 8. That's where I'm at right now. I'm at 8-4 right now for this football team. They'll be favored in 10 games. The only games they'll be underdogs in are Oklahoma and at Iowa State. So if things go really, really right and one of these two quarterbacks steps up and looks like a really good quarterback, then they could win 10 games this year. But 8 feels realistic. They'll have a slip up or two at some point. They've got a couple of trap games in non-conference play. I don't think Arkansas is much of a trap game, but Louisiana could be. And then I feel like we overuse trap game. Like it's the first game of the season. You better not be overlooking them. That better not be a trap game. But Louisiana's just good. They're well coached. They've got more returning production than any team in college football. So that could be a loss. TCU has owned us over the last decade. That could be a loss. Oklahoma State, maybe. Kansas State, maybe. So 8-4 right now. That's my call right there, Eric. We going undefeated. To speak that into existence. 10-2. Texas Savage. Yeah, y'all follow Texas Savage too if you don't already. I don't know what you're doing if you're not following Texas Savage, Texas Homer, Fanatic Perspective. My guy Steven and Train over there too. Y'all make sure y'all show those guys some love and show every Longhorn YouTuber some love. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people too, but we're all a community here. Subscribing to them does not take away from me and vice versa. So please subscribe to me if you haven't done so yet. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Coming up on 40 minutes, also coming up on 5 minutes in a tied Nuggets Blazers game. So I want to check this one out. Am I going to Fayetteville? Yeah, I hope so. I hope I'm in Fayetteville this year. Got to work that out with work, but the plan is to be there, and hopefully we'll do some sort of live broadcast for all the Texas fans who make their way up to Arkansas for that game. That's going to be a fun atmosphere, man. Holy crap. All right, that'll do it, guys. Appreciate the love. Thank you all for watching. If you're not watching this live, comment below. If you are watching this live and I didn't get to your question or you want to ask something else, comment below, and I'll try to get back to you. But thank you all so much for watching. Once again, laststandhats.com. Use code BK10 at checkout for 10% off your purchase. All right, I'll do a recorded video tomorrow as well, but probably the only live for this week. So thank you all for stopping by. Until next time. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay healthy. And hook 'em.